I rise to support the member for Chafee's original motion, dealing with it in a mature and constructive way, the needs of South Australian export businesses and our exporters generally, and indeed I oppose the amendment proposed by the member for Light. An extraordinary amendment following a tradition of amendments brought to this House by the Labor Party that seek to self-satisfy the Labor caucus through aggrandisement of the Premier, for whom all of the Labor members of Parliament who seek to bring these amendments seem very, very keen to please, very, very keen to one-up each other as they congratulate the Premier more and more than the last one for his grandeur, his greatness and the alleged achievements of his government, while ignoring the practical reality, confronting South Australians of whichever industry or sector they may represent in the way that the motions are brought to the House from week to week. In this case, the member for Chafee has brought to the House a motion dealing with the important matters to do with trade. The fact is that South Australian exporters are struggling, whether we're talking about new traders or established traders. The costs that they are facing are increasing. Not only those which have been well dealt with in relation to just this week with increasing costs, but also landside charges for shipping containers rising 54% since 2022. The headwinds including drought, crop production, oversupply, trade restrictions, and the cost of doing business in this state, in this nation, under Labor governments, the list goes on, sir. These issues are very important to me personally. I grew up in a small business household where our entire family our income was supported by my parents' business, a business which manufactured water treatment equipment for both the domestic and international market. Dad worked really hard to ensure that we contributed to South Australia's export industries. Mum's support for that business was a lifelong project for them, a life-consuming project for them both. And through the overseas missions that they participated in particular to India, Southeast Asia, they made a contribution. Exporters are always going to be subject to the business conditions prevailing in the local market as well, and indeed the costs of doing business in a state are dramatic. Those costs of doing business in South Australia are a real concern. As is also important, the nature of how we support our export businesses in South Australia. Now, I bring to the House's attention in particular the Export Ready program, which was introduced by the Marshall Liberal team as a strategy to help South Australian businesses overcome export challenges. A program this Labor government has not supported. And indeed, it's evident now, in the absence of support for that program, that we do again need a comprehensive strategy to educate businesses, help them break into new markets, whether through workshops, training, personalised mentoring, establishing an export knowledge centre. We need better networking and collaboration within the trade space. These are serious and positive measures that the member for Chafee, as our Shadow Minister for Trade, has brought to this Parliament. So to have the amendment proposed by the Labor Party, that all of the reasonable criticism, all of the commendable suggestions from the member for Chafee should be set to one side and replaced with a self-congratulatory series of nonsense that has been brought in its place. It's like when you speak to these people, they say, "Oh, we'd like to tell you how good we are." And that's just not good enough for the people of South Australia, and they deserve better. So we oppose those amendments. I note particularly the proposed removal by the member for Light's amendment of the member for Chafee's Section F, imploring the Labor government to facilitate direct flights to and from India to further promote our trading relations to grow the export economy, to be replaced with, the member for Light's suggestion, an alternative form of words, again commending the Malinowskis Labor government and their minister and the Premier for being so good, when the results actually aren't on the board. Bring forward all the motions you like to this chamber in your own names when you've achieved something. But to amend the member for Chafee's motion by replacing this call for a direct measure that will be appreciated not only by export businesses, although they certainly will appreciate it, but also by Indian residents in my electorate who would love more direct flights home to their original home country to engage with friends and family, and then we'll have something to listen to. I take the opportunity to commend my former staff member, Gurtej Sohal, on his marriage this month, and I'm sorry that I can't make it to India to help participate in that celebrations. Maybe a direct flight would have helped if the Malinauskas Labor government had actually achieved that sort of thing. Instead, all we have in its place is the commendation to themselves for thinking about it or for talking about it. They haven't done it. That's my point. So, to the Sohal family, to Gurtej and his new wife-to-be, congratulations. To this amendment, I encourage all members to oppose the amendment and support instead the member for Chafee's original motion.